You're listening to Court Reserve Unscripted with me, Ashley Owens.
There we go.
Oh,
How's it going?
it's great. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well.
No, so nice to see you. By the way, my brother's name is Chris. It's one of my favorite names. But do you go by Chris or Christopher?
Either is totally fine. Like everyone knows me as Chris. My family calls me Christopher, but I have no preference.
Is that like the mom name, like Christopher?
Correct.
Now, where are you located?
I'm in Minnesota.
Oh, so a little different than my weather in Florida.
Oh yeah, yeah, just about as far apart as they can get.
Oh my gosh. So, how do you know Jenny?
She plays a lot in our area, so I just see her at tournaments a lot. I'm actually playing with her daughter in
Yep.
a tournament this weekend.
That's awesome. Where are you
Yeah.
guys playing at this weekend?
There's a club called Pure Pickleball that we're playing at.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit about your story, and the way that we really do unscripted is we just really have a conversation about whatever we want to talk about. And
Sure.
so I love to just learn about people and what interests them and what's going on in their life. And so that's kind of how we do things here.
Yeah, sounds great to me.
Okay, well, we'll just start. So I'll just start over. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, what's new in the life of a pickleball paddle review pro star?
I mean, it never slows down. I can tell you that much. From January alone, there's probably 30 to 40 plus paddles. I actually think we received over 40 paddles, but unique models is probably a little under 30. But yeah, it's always a lot of paddle reviews to catch up on.
And so, how much playtime do you give each paddle before you give it a review?
So it depends. Like we kind of have two different definitions, or like two types of videos we'll do on the channel. So Uh, a first impressions is like anything less than 5 hours, I would say. On average, it's probably less than 3 hours. And then a review, minimum would be 10 hours, but I mean, sometimes it goes up to 20, 30 hours. Once you get past like 10 to 15, you're usually not going to learn much more about the paddle. Like at that point, it's probably because I just really like it. But yeah, a review is probably 10 to 15 on average.
So, now when you got into this, did the pickleball paddle manufacturers did they start reaching out to you and offering to send you paddles, to kind of try and get in your wheelhouse of opportunity, or is it you more reaching out to them back in the day, and how has that changed to now?
Yeah, I would say back in the day, it was more me reaching out. It was kind of interesting. It's like I just started it for fun. Like it was never meant to be a job. I had some background in YouTube before, and I didn't see a lot of people doing paddle review stuff. So I was like, oh, well, I mean, I could do this. I like pickleball and I like YouTube. So, I had some paddles. I had some friends with paddles, and I was like, hey, can I just borrow some of these? And like, I'll give them back when I'm done. And then after maybe my first one or two videos, I reached out to brands and was like, hey, I'd like to review your paddle. Here's kind of like proof of my work that I've done. And I think it was so, at the time, kind of out of the norm. Like the video quality was a lot lower back then, and I come from a video background. So I think some of the companies were like, oh, this is like very different. So most of them were pretty happy to send stuff early on. There might have been a few that were like, we're good. And then these days, I mean, it's changed so much. Like when I started, it was like me and maybe one or two other guys. Now I literally can't keep track anymore. It feels like there's a new reviewer popping up every day. So the brands are definitely reaching out to people a lot more.
That's really awesome. So, when you're doing the reviews and you're keeping up, how are you keeping up with all of your thoughts and process? Are you using an Excel spreadsheet? Are you using AI? Well, like, what does that look like in your life?
Yeah, so not a lot of AI for the work that I do. I mean, there's some stuff that AI could probably simplify a little bit, but for the most part, it's, you pretty manual stuff. I'm a pretty like meticulous person, so like I've got a whole Notion database full of like information and like scripts for videos, playtime on the paddles, all that type of stuff, and I just kind of keep everything stored like per project, per paddle, and I'll jot stuff down as it's happening. Like hey, you know what, today, like I noticed something was wrong with the paddle. Like, is it a defect? Follow up with that. And then, or otherwise, it's just thoughts about how the paddle plays and what it stacks up against. And then it just keeps, I would say, man, I don't know exactly how many sessions it would be before a review exactly, but let's say it's like 10 to 15. You just different thoughts throughout the whole thing. You usually play the paddle bare bones, then you start adding weight, then you start comparing it to other paddles, and then by the time I'm at that point, I can usually write out my whole script, and it's like, okay, I have a pretty good grasp of this.
That's really cool. Have you had an issue with keeping up with paddles? Like, I'm sure over the years, I mean, like, what do you do with all the paddles after you're done with them? I mean, do you like have a select group of friends and it's like first dibs, or how does that roll?
Yeah, I mean, no, I have accepted now that paddles far outnumber any amount of reviews I could ever produce in a year. Like, realistically, there's like two different ways you could do reviews. Either you're going to hit it for a very minimal amount of time, like maybe every video is a first impressions, which means less than 3 hours. If I did that, I could probably review most paddles in a year. But when you're doing 10 to 15 or more hours, like it's just impossible. So I just go, you know what, I can't get to all of them. And usually there's a stack of high priority paddles and then ones that are a little lower priority. And then once I'm done with paddles, like I know I'm never going to use it again. I have like zero need for it. Either I donate it to like a school, a church, or whoever is getting into pickleball and needs paddles, or some friends like, hey, I have an extra of this paddle. Like, do you want it?
Absolutely. So, have you found that there's still in your community, like you told me that you live in Minnesota, right? So, are there still pickleball places popping up all over the place where people have never played pickleball for the first time?
I don't know if I've never played pickleball, but we do have a pretty ridiculous amount of clubs here. Like I want to say our last count is we're over 30 if you include lifetimes. Like I feel like in our state we've got to have some of the most indoor pickleball clubs that exist. And even outdoor courts, we are not short on outdoor courts at all. Like we have more than enough and somehow they're still all full.
And, it's got to be a little bit seasonal, but I'm sure that they're full in the winter as well. People probably just shovel the courtside off and they just get back out there.
It's interesting. When I started and there was basically zero indoor facilities, I think it was like, gym floors. People were a lot more willing to shovel courts and get out when it was cold. But now I think with all the courts, like it's two things. One, it does get really cold here. What if it's below 40 degrees, no one really wants to play because there's so many clubs now that it's like, dude, why are we torturing ourselves? Just pay $10 and go to the club.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's next in your world? So, you've been doing this for years
Mhm.
and you've established yourself. So, do people try and send you shoes to review or hats, or have they tried to send other things?
Yeah. I would say almost anything you can imagine has probably been sent. I would say the big one right now is shoes. A lot of pickleball companies are getting into shoes, and I think more of the shoe companies are also going, hey, pickleball is like a pretty big market. We should probably be making like a pickleball shoe or at least make a variant that we sell to pickleball people. I kind of try and stay away from some of that. Like I'll talk about it on our podcast. Like, hey, you know what? I'm trying these shoes. Here's what I like. Here's what I don't like. But I also know the things that I am good at and I understand well. And I know there are people who do shoe stuff in like, for tennis that know more than I'll ever know about a shoe. So I'm like, just go watch this person because the info I'm going to give you is probably not that helpful, to be honest.
Right. So, I know that you still play in tournaments and stuff. How much time do you think that you're spending on court working versus having fun?
Oh, man. The vast majority of it is for work. I would say it's probably a 90-10 split. 90% is work, 10% is for fun. But, when I'm doing it for work, I'm still having fun. But the difference is for work, I'm very focused on like, okay, I'm hitting this paddle. What am I noticing about this paddle? Versus if I'm playing for fun, it's like, okay, hey, I can actually work on this shot or I want to improve this or just not think about work. So it would be nice to shift that ratio a little bit, but there's so many paths. Like I said, I mean, I can't keep up with them. So it's like, well, if I shift that percentage, then people are like, hey, where's the paddle reviews? Like, we don't really care that you're a 5-0. We just want to hear about the paddles.
Yeah, real. So, do you ever give a paddle a higher review because of the way it looks, like aesthetics?
Not specifically because of how it looks, but there are definitely paddles that I think are much more ugly than others. Like that
We'll
would
leave
never
those ones out.
impact the actual review, like my recommendation, but I'll be like, hey, look, I think this is ugly.
Yeah, for sure. Um, you grew up in tennis.
Hmm.
Pickleball is your love now.
Hmm.
What's the next sport? You thinking there's another sport out there?
I'm really hoping it's pickleball for a long time. Like, I don't have any plans to slow down at this point. I'm just hoping that pickleball continues to grow. It's not going to obviously be this meteoric rise that it's been the last, 4 or 5 years forever. But I would love to see it, steadily climb and not kind of be like a fad. So hopefully it's not another sport. But I do want to try padel just to see what it's like. It looks fun. We have one club here, but I've never played.
Yeah. So I grew up in tennis and played tennis my whole life. We have a pickleball club here in St. Augustine, Florida. My husband and I opened it a couple years ago, mainly as a test bed for our court reserve software that we use. But I play tennis 3 times a week and I barely ever play pickleball. But paddle is fun because of
Yeah.
my tennis background, right? Because it uses the
Yeah.
same kind of like ball. And I mean, it's different because it's a paddle, but man, that ball flies and oh, it's so much fun. I think you should
Yeah.
definitely go try.
It looks really fun. It also just like some of the nuances with the wall, I can only imagine the first time is just like very confusing and different. So it seems like it would be a blast.
It does take a little bit of time. So now, when you're playing, if you had a pickleball player to play with, like all time, doesn't matter who it is, who would you play with on the court?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'd probably pick the pro players they Navrtil. We're good friends, but him and I just have like elite banter together. But we make fun of each other all the time. So I feel like there would never be a moment that would be boring if we were hitting together all the time. It would probably just be us roasting each other
I love it.
endlessly.
Well, that's the fun of it, right? Is when you can play with somebody and have fun and dominate at the same time.
Yeah.
Is there a specific tennis player that you would bring alongside of you on the pickleball court?
I did actually get to play pickleball with Andre Agassi, and I thought it was like very interesting meeting him and getting to play with him, just with how much of a legend he is. He's so chill and down to earth, and he just loves pickleball. Like you can tell
Yep.
he's all in on it now.
Yes.
So I'd probably say him just because I was like, dude, there's like not an arrogant bone in this guy's body.
That's amazing. He has an incredible story. I mean,
Yeah,
his life. Have you ever read his book?
I haven't, but I need to go and buy it. Like especially recently, I was just listening to some stuff about it, and I was like, I need to just go buy this book because I've heard about it for years.
Yeah, for sure. When I watch tennis today, especially like Carlos and those young guys out, I mean, if they were to come into pickleball today, I mean, they would be what a 7-0 instantly, honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just so fast on the court and imagine bringing them to a smaller court, hard court surface, no doubt. I mean, just it's amazing to watch pro athletes play like that
Oh,
in
I
any
would love to
sport.
see it. I think it would be pretty incredible to see what they could do on a pickleball court.
What's your favorite pickleball match that you've ever watched?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like it's funny. I'm sure you see this all the time too, but it feels like the world's greatest mixed match or the world's greatest men's match like changes like month to month. I don't think I could name a specific one, but there's definitely been a handful this year. Some of the ones on Championship Sunday that went to five that I feel like were really entertaining to watch. And I find any of the ones where it's more of an upset are also a lot more fun. Like I don't have anything against Ben or Anna Lee, but when you have someone coming in as the underdog and it goes to five and they win, like
All
everyone always
day.
wants the underdog to win, you know?
Yes, you're pulling for them the whole time
Yep.
because I mean, honestly, yeah, all kudos to those guys for doing so well for so many years. But like, wow, to go and to beat the champions. I mean, come on. That's
Yeah.
like it, and it happens. Do you still watch tennis?
I don't watch it like if there is like a slam on and there's a final, I'll try and catch some of that, but I don't watch it like
Yeah,
routinely.
sure, for sure. Well, what's happening this year that you're pretty excited about? Any good news?
Well, I'm excited for summer because I have a court in my backyard, and last time it wasn't finished and really ready to be done until like mid June, so we lost like maybe a month and a half of time that we could have used it. So I feel like once spring hits and I just put the net out, it'll be great to it just makes work life a lot easier. You don't have to go very far to get anything done. So I am really excited to be doing that again. And then I've been in the middle, like last year, I started a series called Chasing 5-0 where I'm trying to get to a 5-0 duper. I want to keep doing that. It's just this juggle of like, my personal goal is to do that video series, but then I also know what pays my bills, and me hitting a 5-0 does not pay my bills. So
Duper's
it's a
not
tough
going
one.
to keep your light bill paid.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I'm like, man, I really want to drill and go to tournaments, but it's also really bad for my work schedule when I do that.
That's great. So, are you a fan of the Duper rating?
I don't have. I think I'm like in the middle. I think I see the flaws that they often get criticized for, but I also feel like there are a lot of things people get really frustrated by, and I'm like, well, no one else is doing this, and no one else is doing it any better right now. So I'm like, this is way better than having nothing. But I also don't think it's perfect. So
Good words.
yeah,
No,
like
good
I feel like
words.
mine's pretty good. Like I've been in Duper since probably honestly pretty close to when it came out, and pretty much my whole journey, I felt it's mostly been accurate. Maybe one time I thought I was a little better, but then I went and played a tournament and it went up. So, it's like it usually feels like it evens out.
Yeah, I love the fact that they're working so hard to try and figure it out. They really are trying to figure it out. So that's the positive part is that they're not just like, here you go, we're never going to do anything about this. So I do
Yeah.
appreciate that about a business for sure. So,
Yeah.
any travel plans this summer? Are you going anywhere fun to play?
There's always so much travel. And unfortunately for me, I mean, fortunately, unfortunately, it's a good problem to have, but it's usually very last minute. I would say within a month is usually when I know when I might be going somewhere. The next one I know for sure is the US Open in Florida. So I'm looking forward to that. It's one of my favorite tournaments. But I'm sure there'll be a bunch of other trips that come up. Like a lot of brands and people want me to go over to Asia. I was there a little bit last year and I'd love to go back. It sounds like Malaysia, Vietnam, it's just insane over there. So I'd love to see what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, 10 years we've been doing court reserve, and for the literally the first 10 years, I don't think Tim and I were able to take a vacation other than a working trip, right?
Yep.
Do you
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
feel like that? I mean, like when you go on a trip, people are like, oh, wow, you're in San Diego or you're in New York City or whatever. Yeah, but we're still working. We might
Yep.
actually go have dinner, right? Or go somewhere fun. But do you kind of feel like that's your life right now, even if you get to go on a trip?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm still grateful I get to travel, but it's definitely not like, oh, you're taking a vacation, you just get to go chill and relax. Like I wouldn't change it for anything, but it is still work. Like I take one normal vacation a year, and that's really the only true vacation I get, which again, not a complaint. I'm happy with what I'm doing. But, I think a lot of people see it and they're like, oh man, like you just get to travel places and you just get to hit paddles. Like that doesn't sound like that's very hard. And it's like, there's a lot more back end work that goes into it. But from the outside, I get how it looks.
Yeah, that's true. It's like when people look at a professional athlete and they see, or they'll watch him play. So we're big Duke basketball fans. And of course, they just beat Michigan last week and they're doing so well. Nobody ever sees the grind, right? Nobody ever
Yeah.
sees the 2 or 3 years before that and all of the nighttime and the early mornings. And, so kudos to you for, doing everything that you're doing. When you go
Yeah.
on vacation, do you go somewhere where you're completely alone, like the mountains, you go hiking, or are you going somewhere where somebody's going to know who you are?
It depends a little bit. This last vacation, me and my wife, we went to Southern California, and there was one day where we went and played pickleball, but the rest was just chilling. And then the last few vacations were usually Hawaii. We both just like warm weather, and we usually take it in January when it's like negative 10 degrees here. So it's a good time to leave and go somewhere warm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So last question, what's going to be the next thing in pickleball? What do you think's going to change it up? Anything? You see
Oh,
anything in the future?
that's a good question. I think in my niche of things with paddles, I have a feeling it's mostly going to be the durability of paddles. Like that has been pretty poor for a while, and companies are, now that we're moving towards foam, that's helping. Some companies are investing in longer lasting textures. There's not going to be I don't think there's ever really going to be a paddle that's like a tennis racket since we can't really swap the core out or the face. But I think we'll get to a point where, hopefully 6 months, maybe even up to a year for some people who play a little more casual. That would be nice to see. And then otherwise, man, I don't know. Like it feels like there's always something new in this sport. Like everyone's been flooding with facilities all around the country. And now there's a lot of AI stuff that's integrating in different ways, like AI line calling and all these things. So I don't know. I don't really know what it'll be, but I'm excited. Like it feels very fun to be on the early part of a sport that's doing what it's doing.
I agree. I think it's a great time to be in our sport, regardless, racket or paddle sports. There's so many conferences, tournaments, there's so much to do. And I think that, especially for people coming out of school who want to teach, instruct,
Yep.
get into technology. I mean, look, you basically started your own business in this sport with a camera and YouTube.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
which
it's
is
an
crazy.
incredible time to be in this industry.
I
So,
completely agree.
I so appreciate your time. I know your schedule's busy. Thanks to your wife for letting you away for the afternoon and hanging out
Of
with us
course.
at Unscripted. So, well, best of luck to you this year. Maybe we'll see you around.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, friend.
Yep. See
All
ya.
right. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you'd like to learn more about how Court Reserve became the go-to club management software for racket and paddle sport clubs, come say hello over on our website. There's a link in the show notes.